Hey, it's January 31st, 2025. Uh, well, I spent a few weeks, maybe a month on Bluesky, which is some social media thing started by Jack Dorsey, who was the original founder of Twitter or whatever. And it's a bunch of leftists and liberals on there. And try to get through to some of them. Made a few thousand posts. Apparently couldn't get anyone to understand why taxes or democracy are bad things, despite the fact that the guy they hate more than anyone else in the world and now has power over them as a result of those things. Um, they just seem like a very subservient class of people who really, I think, just don't want to take any responsibility for their own lives and want to be hateful and blame people. And I mean, I got threatened, I got insulted constantly. Very rarely did anyone bring anything substantial to the conversation or make any real attempt to even understand what I was trying to say, let alone um, try to say why they disagreed or whatever. It was real sad, real pathetic, and real desperate feeling people on there. It's whatever. I guess I just thought maybe I could help some people. Maybe I'd help protect a few people from the crises that are heading our way, but no one really seemed interested. So I've uninstalled the app. We'll leave them to their own devices. I'm not going to make it my problem. In other news, I had my pouch stolen, which is essentially my wallet. I use a pouch to keep my cash, my credit cards, my some other stuff, uh, and that really sucked. I had that stolen in a poker. I was at a house poker game earlier this week, and um, I had a disc on that in there that had the latest editions of my manuscripts for my books. So it really sucked to lose those. It only set me back a couple weeks as far as my edits because I do back them up to my laptop once in a while. But it really sucks because editing that book's really tough. It's a lot of work, and to lose any amount of it really sucks. So far, I haven't found the time/energy to resume based on my last backup copy, and we're getting pretty busy at work now. So I'm going to do what I can, but I don't know when I'll get these things done. So what else? I went to LA last weekend. Pretty sad out there, pretty pathetic. These people playing 20-40 limit, none of them tipping more than $1 per pot. All these leftists pretend that they are humanitarians, but of course none of them ever donate any of their own fucking assets to anyone. um, they're just selfish, cruel, virtueless fucking people, man. And kind of glad not to still be there. I'm probably not gonna play much poker the next couple months as I'll be busy at work, and any free time I do have, I'd rather use it trying to get my books done or just relaxing and trying to kind of catch my breath because I know work's going to run me ragged. Yeah, Trump's in office. Um, it's so crazy, right? Because I oppose abortion laws. I oppose drug laws. I oppose the national borders that we currently have. I oppose tariffs. And yet, despite all these differences between me and Trump, to all these people on Bluesky, there are no differences. They just see us as the same, which really just demonstrates that they don't actually care about any of those issues. And all they really are is just members of a hate filled cult. All they care about is social approval from their little clique, who can come up with the cutest little insult, you know. They're just immature, childlike people who have just no real conception of reality or economics or what's going to happen to them as inflation worsens and as the government worsens in this desperate bid to kind of maintain control of society. So, whatever, you know, I mean, people have been a real disappointment, frankly. um, I try to be good. I've abstained from pot since last weekend, last Saturday. I don't know if it'll continue, how long it'll continue, but I've made it this far. It's tough because life isn't fun, because people aren't fun to be around. There's not really much joy in my life. We have these pending crises, and no one seems to care. And it's tough, but I need to abstain because my lungs, they've really been rebelling, and I don't believe I have the discipline to just do non-smokeless forms. So for right now, I think that's what makes sense. I think it's good if I can get natural sleep and kind of just get a grip on things. I mean, you know, even if I'm not smoking actively in the daytime, if I smoke the night before, I feel like it really kind of gives me a lot of brain fog and just I'm sluggish. And so this week I've been super productive at work. I've cleared my desk, even though we're going into busy season. I find myself here late in the day with no tax work to do because I've done it all. Because I've really had my nose to the grindstone and been able to get that done. But like I said, my books, especially my text, is really a lot of heavy. It's not fun to write. It's not fun to edit. It's work. It sucks. And it sucks to have to redo it because some punk thought it'd be cute to steal my shit, you know. Um, yeah, it kills me. I mean, I'm a good guy, you know. I tip well. You know, I tip. I go to the drive-throughs. I tip. I tip well at poker. I give to charity. I try to be a good person, a kind person. To me, that means being honest. It means sometimes saying things maybe people don't want to hear. But I think it's ultimately better to do that than it is to sign off unconditionally on shitty behavior, which seems to be what these people on Bluesky, for the most part, seem to do. I mean, if it's one of their allies, it's like it doesn't matter what they do, they're going to find an excuse. They're going to rationalize it. They're going to be okay with it. So, you know, I've been banned from Twitter for a long time. I've been banned from Facebook for a long time. I've been banned from Reddit for a long time, and now I'm kind of self-banning myself from Bluesky because it just seems like people aren't trying to learn, people aren't interested in acknowledging error, acknowledging fault. Um, it's judgment, and there's no true discourse. There's no true compassion, really. It's just a bunch of bullying pieces of shit, frankly, and I can do without them. So I'm going to abstain from poker home games going forward. I've gone to the casino a lot of times in my life. I've never had my wallet stolen there, so I'm going to just play the odds. And the casino games are good games. No need to go anywhere else. Um, the the metals markets are getting interesting. The LBMA, which is the biggest uh, gold exchange in the world, they are running late on their deliveries, so they have an over-the-counter market. In theory, you should be able to just buy gold there, um, but now there's a 4 to 8 week delivery delay, and there's a chance it's because they don't have the gold to deliver. Now, the mainstream media is reporting that the reason they don't have the gold to deliver is because everyone's moved the gold to New York in anticipation of the tariffs that are supposed to kick in tomorrow, which is probably part of it. However, the vaults at LBMA have been getting drained for a long time, and not just going to New York, but going to China, going to other places that are repatriating gold, um, and that are selling fiat currency to increase their gold reserves. And so this might just be the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. But it's an exciting time to be a metals investor because what we're seeing in New York, you got a COMEX exchange. They trade futures contracts. And we're seeing big spreads between the future price of gold and the current spot price of gold. So, in theory, at the LBMA, you can buy gold. Not you, but like if you're an institutional investor or whatever, you're buying good delivery bars. Um, you should be able to buy gold at spot. Um, but but there's a big spread, so there's this arbitrage opportunity. So if you can buy gold in London at spot and you can sell it for 30-40 bucks higher in New York on a futures contract that expires in February or March, you can make that spread. So that's an incentive for people to pull gold out of London. However, if there's a 4 to 8 week delay, that kind of kills the arbitrage opportunity, I would think. So, but maybe not. Maybe, they take a chance, roll the dice, say, well, we hope we'll get delivery by the time, this March contract, by the time we have to deliver in New York. And also the fact that they're having this delay is going to potentially spook the market and cause people who have claims on gold in London to pull it, to repatriate their gold and pull it out of London, putting even more pressure on the vaults there. So we are potentially on the brink of seeing a real collapse of the paper gold trading market, essentially, um, where the LBMA actually has no physical gold available for delivery, and where people actually have to establish a physical market outside the LBMA if they want gold. So that's a big deal. There's people who talked about these metals markets being manipulated for years. Well, if they're right, um, we could see a spike in the price. It's just going to completely blow people's minds. And all the other precious metals, silver, platinum, palladium, they have the similar circumstances apply. I mean, these trade tariffs, for example, we're anticipating that they might affect all of these different types of metal as far as importing to America. So that's going on. So that's one thing that's kind of exciting. Um, yeah, it's sad, man. Like, I guess I just thought, because I'm a capitalist, and yet, like I said, I oppose all these laws and things, which, a lot of liberals oppose. And it's like I'm almost in a way like, I mean, my name on there was the radical capitalist. So I am radical. I want to see a radical change, which is the full disestablishment of tax funded governments. That's about as radical a change as you could propose. Yet they all seem just loyal, just bound um, to their social group and bound to their preconceived notions. And um, communism is a pipe dream that can never be realized, because the idea of a classless society can never be realized, because different people have different ideas about how land, property, and labor should be utilized. And so there needs to be a deciding mechanism. Well, am I going to get my way, or are you going to get your way? And a pricing mechanism, as we have in capitalism, is how that gets established in personal property ownership. When you have so-called communal property ownership, you don't actually have it, because you don't have consensus among the community. All you can do is appoint a dictator to rule over everyone and decide for everyone. And that's why every communist experiment ends up with a horrible dictator. It's not a coincidence. So this has been the argument against it. I presented it countless times, and all I got in response was insults and cruelty and, occasional appeals to authority. So it's a pipe dream. It ain't going to work. The solution is capitalism. The solution is freedom, individuals being free to own property. So they're just so bizarre how they advocate for democracy, and then Trump's the guy that wins the Democratic election, and they somehow aren't happy. Like, well, this is what you wanted. You like democracy. You think popular opinion's a good thing. Well, he got the most votes, so people should be happy. And if you're not happy, then you should be willing to consider my fucking ideas, which is that we shouldn't give all this power to some democratically elected fucking person, that we shouldn't tax the population. But they didn't seem open to even considering it, so they're going to remain powerless and essentially irrelevant on a political level, and pretty soon irrelevant on an economic level, because the dollar's going to become worthless. And none of these people seem to understand that or be preparing for that eventuality. So all I think we have to do as capitalists and as reasonable people who understand what's happening is stay out of the way of these people and let them kind of self implode. I guess that's about all I have for today. So thanks for tuning in. Take care.